It's out 105.1. It is PK, and we got something special for you for the next hour. A nice little takeover in the studio with me. I have the one and only Patrick from My Morning Jacket.
Hello, hello, hello.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great. Home for the last little bit here, getting ramped up for this hometown show coming up Saturday.
I know this is gonna be a big show over at the Yum Center on Saturday. It's crazy. And it's a Halloween party too.
That's right. That's the only way we could make up for a COVID cancellation for an outdoor beautiful show at the riverfront.
Yeah,
is to make a Halloween party out of it.
I mean, it's going to be an absolute blast. I mean,
we're looking forward to it.
Do you guys have like a themed outfit? Like you don't need to ruin anything. Do you guys have like a theme that you're going with, or is everybody kind of doing their own thing?
That's the thing, is everybody's instruments have varying degrees of physicality. So we can't all dress as the same thing because we all need different levels of mobility.
Yeah.
Me being the one that needs to have the most mobility because of the drums. But yeah, so I have a few limitations on that, but no universal theme this year. Everybody's kind of going their own path. And, it's going to look just like the crowd up there. Like there's not a universal theme for the crowd. There's not a universal theme for the band.
I love it. Well, it's going to be super exciting. And, we're looking forward to the show, and we are giving away tickets during the show.
That's right.
Courtesy of you. We got plenty of tickets to give away. So, on alt1051.com, right now, just today only, if you go and enter the winning word Patrick, makes sense, right? The winning word is Patrick. So if you go to alt1051.com, click on that win tab, you can register for tickets for the show coming up again on Saturday at the Yum Center. But let's talk about what we're doing right now with this nice little takeover.
Yeah.
So you got a playlist that you sent over, and we're gonna have some fun, and we're gonna dig through the crates a little bit on some of these. So we just played some Soundgarden with Jesus Christ Pose. So let's talk about that one. Just starting out. Why did that one make the list and kick things off for us?
Woo, how could that not make a list? I mean, I will just never forget. That was the first Soundgarden song I ever heard.
Nice.
And it just blew my brains to pieces. I could not believe the vocal range of Chris Cornell. I'm a drummer, so obviously Matt Cameron, self-explanatory. Mm-hmm. And just the overall vibe of that band is just so powerful and dark and just magical. I don't know. When I first heard that song, I could not believe my ears. And I've recently been going on a deep dive back into that era. Maybe it's enough time has passed to where it sounds like super new and fresh to me. Mm-hmm. But when I put that back on, when I was researching for this DJ set and I put that song on, I was like, oh my God. Like I listened to it like 10 times in a row.
I mean, I get it. Like, I don't want to spoil any of the songs that are going to be coming up, but as I'm reading through the list when you sent it over, I was like, oh my gosh. And I was doing the same thing. I'm like, man, it's been so long since I've heard this one, but it's like, it's such a classic that hits.
They still hit. And I mean, it's just such an exciting time in music history too. I mean, the genre of alternative music was honed in this era.
Yeah.
And it changed the game.
100%.
It changed me as a musician and as a person. So that's why I'm here, is to kind of exhibit some of the stuff that really took me off of one course and threw me against the wall into another one.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can definitely see a thread with a lot of this, and kind of the late '80s and early '90s in that alternative world, and going into this one, from the late '80s with Jane's Addiction.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you got to throw down with some Jane's.
Yeah.
Get that bass line going.
I know. Let's hear it.
Hell yeah. Back at it here on Alt 105.1 with a nice little takeover session with Patrick from My Morning Jacket.
I'm taking over.
Hell yeah, taking over, and taking over with some force too, and Nirvana right there with Milk It. We were talking a little bit as it was playing, one of those Nirvana songs that I feel like people kind of just, I don't want to say forget, but it's not the first one that comes to mind.
Well, it's one of the first one that comes to my mind. And I don't know why. It's just when In Utero came out and I heard that song for the first time, it was perfect. And I'm a big Steve Albini fan. He was the producer of that album. Yep. He's in a band called Shellac, and he just has recorded a lot of bands that I love, and he has a signature drum sound that he gets, and that as an example of the true like Steve Albini drum sound. So I'm just like a nerd about that stuff. And plus it's just the vocal performance on that song is just stupid.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. It sounds like Nirvana being Nirvana.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, the drums, the Steve Albini sound is
it's so big.
Notch. Yeah. And I mean, for you being a drummer, I mean, like you got to have tons of different producers or even other drummers just in general that, have probably influenced
oh my
your
gosh.
sound.
Yeah. Well, you're hearing a lot of them today.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's fun though. And I mean, we get to dig through some of this stuff and, get a glimpse into, what's shaped you as a musician.
Sure.
And kind of, made you, the drummer that you are today with My Morning Jacket. And, that's what this is all about. We're just having some fun getting to know you a little bit more before the show happening at the Yum Center coming up on Saturday. And again, alt1051.com. If you go and enter the winning word Patrick, we're giving away tickets to that show, our very last tickets for this Saturday. And we're going to continue on with this takeover. I mean, there's still plenty to get to it. Of course, we're going to play some My Morning Jacket as well. I mean, you kind of have to. It'd be like, I feel like people would be like, you didn't play any of your own songs.
I'd be fine with that, but I'll throw one in there.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that, but let's stick in this whole '90s theme and go with next on the list. We got some Pearl Jam, and one that I'm a huge fan of, and I feel like we should be playing it more than we do. Tell me a little bit about your connection with State of Love and Trust.
Well, I'm so glad you asked because I put that on there because it's a band influence, and in 7th and 8th grade, I was in a band with, we had a good group of grade school friends. Me and Jim were in a band with, Dave Given, Ben Blanford, and Aaron Todovich. We were all a group in grade school. And that was one of the first covers that we learned it was on the single soundtrack, wasn't released on an actual album. Mm-hmm. And, when I was going down memory lane with this set, that was like, and I was like picking a Pearl Jam song. I was like, that's the one because that is steeped in My Morning Jacket lore.
Yeah. Well, that's crazy that's the first song that you chose to cover.
That's one of the first ones. It was that one and Losing My Religion were the two covers that we took on in 7th grade.
I'm here for it. So let's dive into it. And, I wish we kind of had like an early demo.
I don't.
There you go. It's all good. Pearl Jam, State of Love and Trust, doing the My Morning Jacket takeover with Patrick here in the studio at Alt 1051. It's Alt 1051, Little Blind Melon taking you back, toes across the floor. It's the My Morning Jacket takeover. I got Patrick in the studio with me.
How's it going?
Dude, we're having a blast. This is your whole playlist. Like
That's right.
I had nothing to do with this. This is different bands or songs that have influenced you or the band, and doing this before the big show over at the Yum Center coming up on Saturday. And again, we are giving away tickets today only, courtesy of Patrick. Wants to give you some tickets to the show. If you hit up alt1051.com, enter that winning word, Patrick. That's how you can get in to win some free tickets. But I want to get back into the playlist because so far, I can see what's coming up and everything and all the stuff that we've had in the past. I mean, a lot of that early 90s, late 80s kind of vibe. I know we're going to get a little bit newer with, some stuff. But, specifically, let's talk about Blind Melon. And,
sure.
People are used to hearing No Rain. Like, that's, obviously the big one. But, going back to that self-titled album with Toes Across the Floor, like how did that, impact you?
I mean, that band, first of all, never really got a clear shake in my mind because No Rain is one song and then the rest of their catalog sounds nothing like No Rain whatsoever.
100%.
And they were just a huge influence on our band on many, many levels. Mm-hmm. The way that they approached songwriting was really just free and explorative and imaginative. I just think that like that first self-titled album and then the following album Soup were kind of like this blueprint for how to go about writing songs for us early on. And just the vocal range of Shannon Hoon and just the sonic bravery of these guys just really drew us in as music fans.
Yeah, and I think listeners are going to notice kind of that trend through this entire playlist as we keep getting further into it, that I think a very common theme with the artists, or specifically the songs that, you know, that you've put on here that have impacted you and influenced the band, you see that kind of rawness and, you know, that natural, you know, energy and talent that goes into it, and less of the, you know, I don't want to say like overproduced, but like, you know, like you get more of a feeling with some of these songs, and especially from that era.
Sure. I mean, it could either be an album or it could be them in a room, but you're going to, you can't fake what these people put down. I mean, they're true artists.
Yeah.
In every sense of the word.
And, you know, and we've been into the rock and alternative side of things, but we're going to kind of shift gears a little bit with what we're going to get into. And this one threw me for a loop when I was I'm looking at the playlist, and it's like, oh, okay. Like, I'm into it. And, you know, another one that's, you know, again, you got to go digging through the crates a little bit with Beastie Boys and Shake Your Rump. You got to tell me why you picked Shake Your Rump out of all the Beastie Boys songs. I mean, I'm a big fan, but again, one of those ones where it's like, okay.
Because I'm thinking about me back then at this stage. And, of course, now Paul's Boutique is widely available and very well known and revered. At that time, it was not. Mm-hmm. This was before, Check Your Head came out, and they had flopped, basically. Like, Paul's Boutique was a massive flop, but I can't imagine why. Like, it's just so good. And this song, the production quality, just the first time I heard it, it just blew my brains to bits. Again, I'm going to say that about 30 times before this interview's over.
That's all right.
But it just really moved me, and it was just immediate love.
Yeah.
And I just fell in love with that album. And even back then, I couldn't understand, like, why nobody had heard of it and why nobody was excited about it.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it right now, talking about it, well, because it's just so good.
Yeah. Let's play it then. Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Beastie Boys, Shake Your Rump.
Turn it up.
It's Alt 105.1. It's Alt 105.1. My Morning Jacket right there. Love, love, love. Big show coming up on Saturday over at the Yum Center, and we've been doing a whole My Morning Jacket takeover with Patrick in the studio. We've been having a blast with this, man. This is
so much fun.
And we had to throw in a My Morning Jacket song. I mean, you know, a little bit of self-promotion. There's
somebody outside of the booth right now with a gun, and they're making me do it.
They're like, you gotta play one. Like, stop with all of the 90s and all.
I know.
No, but of course we had to throw in some My Morning Jacket for the show. And we're giving away tickets for the show as well if you want to go and check them out at the Yum Center, again, coming up on Saturday. If you go to alt1051.com and enter the winning word Patrick, which just makes sense. I mean, Patrick's here in the studio. All right, enter the winning word Patrick. Could be walking away with some free tickets again for this Saturday. And, you know, again, like, you know, we had to throw in some My Morning Jacket. And, you know, tell me a little bit about, you know, what's going on with you guys coming up in the future. I mean, it's, you know, you put out the album. It's been, what, about 2 years now since the last album?
We put it out this year.
Oh, my God. Am I really that stupid right now?
Yeah. Well, no, you're not that stupid right now. Oh, wait. No, we put it out last year. Excuse me.
Okay. All right.
Sorry. The pandemic time warp has taken all sensibility away from me. So
same, apparently.
It came out in 2021.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right.
Last year.
All right. We split the difference between 2 and 0. But so what, you know, what's the plan going forward after all of this? Cause I mean, you know, you've had rescheduled shows, you guys have been touring, like now you're home for a little bit.
That's right. Yeah. You know, honestly, it's a really exciting time to be in the band and to be kind of like reinvigorated on so many levels. We took a hiatus for about 2 years and, you know, almost broke up. We'd been a band for nearly 20 years. In fact, this is my 20th year in the band.
Nice.
2 decades. It's a long time.
Yeah.
But we kind of pushed through that and found that we really enjoyed being together and making music together, and then it was the bond that we have is super special. So we started playing live shows again and found that felt really good. So we went into the studio and made the self-titled album to see how that felt, and that felt amazing. And we've been touring that album and the rest of the catalog and just having a blast. So right after the hometown show here on Saturday, we're going to start recording the next album.
Nice.
And we're just moving forward. It's we're older and hopefully wiser, and just really taking stock in how special of a thing we have, and just having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah. No break at all. Like
no breaks.
No breaks.
We had a 4-year break.
Yeah.
No more breaks.
No. Now you just gotta pedal to the metal and just keep it going. But no, that's that's something to keep looking forward to as well. I mean, I know it's tough sometimes when you're on the road and you're kind of giving it your all, and it's like sometimes you just want to take a step back. But I feel like being in the studio too. I mean, like there's a little bit of that relaxation to it. I mean, it's still work, but
actually, it may be more stressful sometimes in the studio than on the road, just because you're kind of living under a microscope and you're really trying to get amazing takes, and some things may be going right and wrong, and they're both two sides of the same coin, really. And we're just trying to pace ourselves so we don't hit that burnout stage that you're talking about, and just try to tour and record smarter, not harder. And it's been a joy so far.
I love it. Well, looking forward to getting some of that new music. That's
looking forward to giving it.
It's going to be fun. And of course, as soon as we get even more new stuff from you guys, we'll be playing it here on Alt 105.1. It'll be part of the next time we do a takeover.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Of course, you're welcome back anytime. But we still got some more stuff on the list here. Like we're not done yet.
Let's hit the list.
Yeah, still more to get to. So tell me a little bit about this one. Again, like one that kind of threw me for a little bit of a loop. Bjork.
Yeah.
Human Behavior.
Uh-huh.
Let's talk about Bjork.
That one I picked because that was more of a video impression that came out. So when I saw that video for the first time, I just remember stopping in my tracks and thinking, like, what am I watching right now? What is this? And you can kind of barely understand her Icelandic accent's super thick, but the visuals are crazy, and the music, I'd never really heard anything like it before. And it just really like grabbed me and was like, made me listen. And it took about 3 or 4 times to really like kind of let it sink in. And then I just became like a massive fan. I just think that she is brave and imaginative and just a doer. And I just really, take her or leave her all you want. You can't say that she's lazy. You can't say she's dull. And I think she brings a lot of beauty to the world.
Yeah, she makes things different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like you said, like we need her.
We need the Bjorks of the world.
And we need some human behavior in our life.
That's right. Gosh, you nailed that one. Yes.
Oh yeah, it's the
Stick the landing.
Yeah, My Morning Jacket takeover. Some Bjork. It's Alt 105.1. It's Alt 105.1. Little Afghan Wigs taking you back with the gentleman right there. It's the My Morning Jacket takeover with Patrick in the studio. Been having an absolute blast so far. Just going through some songs that I know for a fact, you probably haven't heard on Alt 105.1 before, because there've been some unique ones.
That's the goal, baby.
Yeah, but also just having a blast with some of your favorite artists and songs that have impacted you and influenced your style of drumming and your contribution to the band with My Morning Jacket. So let's dig into Afghan Wigs a little bit with Gentlemen.
Sure. You're like, what's the deal with that?
Yeah.
Well, how do I even put it? That band just came at the right time. They didn't sound like anything out there at that moment.
Yeah.
They're from Cincinnati, so they were like,
it's close.
Super close. And, that kind of gave us, when you're from a city like Louisville or Cincinnati, you don't get a lot of musical talent that comes out and like acts like a mentor. And we looked at the Afghan Wigs as like, holy crap, they made it out of Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And they're out playing festival circuits and videos on MTV and writing really good songs. And they were just a really important part of our upbringing. And like, we've recently had a run-in with them, with Greg Dooley. Some band members are really good friends with him. We actually, like, members of Blind Melon are touring in Afghan Wigs and recording Afghan Wigs. There was like this whole synergy going on here.
Yeah.
But I couldn't put together like a trip down memory lane without that song.
Yeah. It's crazy how you keep just like all of these things are kind of connecting together and like weaving together. I mean, but that's, you know, I feel like that's how you curate a good playlist. Like that's how it's done. It's like, I mean, but all these songs and, you know, these artists, like they mean something to you and to the band. So, you know, this has been a blast so far. I mean, like I said, like when I first saw this list, it was like, oh man, like this is going to be fun.
Oh, cool.
It's been great. But, you know, as we kind of get closer to the end of the takeover, you know, still a few more songs to get to. I want to talk about this one because this is one that I feel like a lot more people just in the mainstream are probably familiar with. They might not know the artist or the song, but like they probably have heard it and it's like, oh, that's probably been in a movie or, you know, a TV commercial or something like that. But with James and Laid, like just one of those songs where it's like you hear it and you know it, you know, so
it's undeniable.
Yeah. I mean, it's just straight up banger. It's a hit. Like, you know, you can't deny that. So, you know, tell me about what this one means to you.
Well, it's actually that whole album is just... That came out when I was in 8th grade, and I remember me and Jim just really gravitating towards it. There's just a number of songs on there. It starts off with a song I can't remember. I think it's called What I Need. It's just really good songwriting, and it has like that. They're from the UK, so it really has like that like Celtic feel. Like you could just you could feel the age in those songs without it when it was brand new. Yeah. And I just feel like that album and those songs like really hold up well through the test of time. Like he's a really good singer. They're just a cool band. I don't know. Like it's just one of those staple bands in my tapestry that I go back to from time to time.
It's fair. And the drums on this one, like, you know,
it's great.
Like it's just a fun song.
It's just perfect. Yeah. It is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. It serves the purpose that it needs to. And, you know, the purpose now is for, you know, what, like 2 minutes and change.
It's in and out. Yeah.
That's right. It's quick. It hits. It's a hit. It's the My Morning Jacket takeover. Patrick in the studio with James right now. Laid. It's Alt 105.1. It's Alt 105.1, and we finally made it into the 2000s on this playlist.
Welcome.
Yeah, PJ Harvey with This Is Love. It's the My Morning Jacket takeover with Patrick in the studio. Yeah, we finally we made it into a different decade now.
That's right.
I love it though. But you know, talk about PJ Harvey and you know whether it's the song or just PJ Harvey in general. Which one did you go with here?
You know what? I had to just, when I'm thinking back through all this, I'm thinking about attitude. I'm thinking about power. I'm thinking about raw emotion. I'm thinking about songwriting prowess, and like all of those adjectives describe PJ Harvey.
100%.
She is just a hurricane of a human being in a very small package. You could pass her on the street and you'd be like, you would just keep walking. You wouldn't really know. And then she goes up on a stage and just destroys a place.
Yeah.
She has a central power within her that is unprecedented.
Just true rock star energy.
Total badass.
I love it. Yeah. Well, I mean, a good one to throw on the list of the takeover that we've been doing here. And again, the show coming up on Saturday. People want tickets, so we're giving them tickets.
That's the idea. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Not only just to play, but to give out some tickets as well.
That's right. You want people at the show.
That's right.
Obviously. But I mean, it's the Yum Center, so there's going to be plenty of people at the show. But you can be at the show as well. We're giving away tickets today. If you go to alt1051.com, click on the win tab, you'll see it right there. And the winning word for these tickets is Patrick. So that's what you need to enter to get qualified for these tickets, again, coming up on Saturday. And we're getting basically to the end of our takeover here. We got a few more that we're going to throw into the mix here. Just going back and looking at this list, which if you missed anything, we will post up the full playlist on alt1051.com. But, you know, a lot of that early 90s grunge sound between things like Soundgarden and Pearl Jam, you know, late 80s with Jane's Addiction, you know, and now we're kind of coming back into the 90s here with Smashing Pumpkins.
Well, I mean, I'll just expand out to that to Gish, the album, their first
Yes.
album. You're naming all these bands that, Seattle, LA. Mm-hmm. We got one from Chicago.
Yep.
And there's just something that happened when the four of those people got together and played that just jumped out of the stereo and like grabbed my heart. And Jimmy Chamberlain as a drummer is a massive influence for me. Just bar none, one of the biggest of them. And there's just something about this album, and I didn't know it at the time. Looking back, this debut album sounds more sure-footed than most.
Yeah.
I will tell you right now. It's like they just went in and they knew exactly what they were doing. Mm-hmm. James Iha is just like a guitar god out of the, like, just add water and you have guitar god.
Yeah.
It's James Iha. And this album and that song in particular is just an example of a band that was like fully actualized first album.
Yeah.
And that's just super cool. And there's no question in my mind why they became such a massive success, but there's just something about this album and this sound, and before they tasted the fame, that I can't get enough of it.
I love it. Well, it's the My Morning Jacket Takeover. Patrick in the studio. We still got a few more that we're going to get to, but we'll do some Smashing Pumpkins right now. It's out 105.1. It's out 105.1. Little Dinosaur Jr. Start shopping. The My Morning Jacket Takeover with Patrick in the studio. And we were talking earlier in the takeover that that song in particular was more of a dedication.
That's right. Going back through all this and thinking back on this whole time period, that friend group that I was talking about from grade school where we had a band, one of the members, Aaron Todovich, is no longer with us. And he was instrumental in our friend group in that he was always pushing forward, and he was always the first one to get the newest gear, and he always knew about all these new bands. And whenever I think of Dinosaur Jr., I think of Aaron Todovich. So I just wanted to put a dedication out to his spirit and how much I miss him. And that particular song is just one that really gets me. And the minute I put it on this list, I was like, oh, I hope I get a chance to say something about that guy, because, he's part of the reason he shaped a lot of our path by his power.
Yeah. I mean, not only just, you guys as people, but, you guys kind of coming together as a band early on, and then, eventually moving forward to, where you are now. So, we're always happy for dedications. That's part of what we do. We're about, making those connections and that even that emotional connection, and I'm happy that you put that one on there. I mean,
thanks.
Again, like, this entire playlist has been just so much fun to see, not only your musical taste, but the artists and the songs that impacted your life, that impacted the bands, and again impacted just the people around you as well. So it's really a nice little deep dive into you and the band. So I appreciate you taking the time to stop by and have some fun with us and do this whole takeover. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, thanks for having me. The fun's been on this side too, for sure.
Hell yeah. But I do want to remind people again, the big show coming up on Saturday. My Morning Jacket's taking over the Yum Center, and if you want those last tickets to the show, we are giving them away. All right, alt1051.com. If you click on the win tab, you're going to see it right there. Enter the winning word Patrick. That's how you can get qualified for those tickets. And if you want to go back and see the full playlist for this takeover, we will post it up on alt1051.com as well. So you can see all the songs that we've been talking about, anything that you might have missed as well. But again, I want to thank you, Patrick, for taking some time to hang with us and have some fun. It's not every day that we get to kind of go through some of these songs, and they a lot of them don't see the light of day too often when it comes to terrestrial radio. So we get to do something different, and it's a blast for us.
Well, it's a blast for me too. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, you're welcome back anytime you want to do a takeover. And as we were talking earlier, hopefully next time you come back, we're going to have even more My Morning Jacket music too. So
that I can't wait for that moment.
Hell yeah, man. Well, again, I appreciate you taking the time, man, and having some fun with our takeover.
Thank you.